policy is there will be a number of smoking corrals inside the footprint of the stadium, and folks are able to smoke in those corrals. They're outside the concourses, so there will be no more smoking, of course, in the bowl itself, nor in the concourses. We received, quite honestly, as many complaints from folks sitting in the upper 5, 6 rows of the lower bowl because everybody smoked in front of the plexiglass to keep watching the game, and it was a number of complaints that came from folks in those areas. So smoking, and it will be enforced by public safety officials as well as CSC, our security folks. It will be enforced, vigilantly. So you have to go into one of these corrals to get a smoke break.
Have you increased your CSC presence because of all of this?
We have. I can't tell you it's up 10% or 15% or 20%. It varies game to game. And really, at the end of the day, our public safety folks, with Chief Roberts taking the lead, they really tell us what they think we should have. And I think we nod our head and comply with the recommendation. So, but I think it's clearly safe to say that we will have more security officials at all of the games compared to years past.
What is there was talk about a no drinking section or doing something along those lines eventually. Has anything been done about that?
No, it became logistically very difficult because of the timing for season ticket renewals, and it's something we're looking at in the future. We have talked to a number of other universities that have similar sections. Some have done it, others have looked at it and said it's not worth it. I think the key thing, and we'll talk about that in a moment with Chief Roberts, is if we're successful in raising the level of civility in every one of the sections, that you really won't need necessarily an alcohol-free zone. But that's something that remains to be seen whether we're able to do that. But we have not instituted any no alcohol sections at this point.
I wanted to ask about the training. If you're training 500 people, that's presumably a lot more than just the people selling beer. So who all is getting training?
400 of our own staff and volunteers that we got, and then another 100 of the CSC people that we refer to here. In addition to that, we will have internal monitors on game day. So next, besides the security, we will have people going around making sure that we're reinforcing the guidelines that are being adhered to. And that's on top of the security in place here.
Is 400, is that the number of people that you have working at games? All
Involved, yeah, involved with the sale of alcohol, either in the movement of the product, the selling of the product, any way or fashion. Anybody involved with it will go through this training.
That 400 more jobs than you would have had?
We have more people on the payroll this year because of the addition of beer in here. Yes, it is. It's increased 2 full-time positions and a local staff. And Laura, what would you estimate as far as the norm?
200 additional volunteers.
I'm sorry, how many additional staff?
Two full-time and 200 of the
200 additional
game day
staff.
Correct.
Can somebody address beer sales in the volunteer groups that work some of the concession stands, how that's going to work?
We have a majority of our stands are being staffed by the nonprofit groups, so they will continue to work with us and be paid a commission for what they sell, and they'll be able to contribute back into the community.
Will they be selling the beer?
Yeah, except for in that student section area. Those groups there will not be involved with the sale of beer, but everywhere else they would be involved.
Sure. Some of the volunteer groups are high school students.
There is no regulation. Nobody under the
Age of 18 and up.
How many concession areas can you purchase? Where are they located? And then what type of additions have you had to do or upgrades to the stands?
There will be 51 different locations throughout the stadium that you can purchase beer. And then, like Oliver had said, just in the north end zone will be with the craft beer with the draft, but everywhere else will be in the bottled product, the 16-ounce bottles.
And you have that text if you need help in the stands. For a couple of years now, that program, and people say that it gets jammed up a lot, and I think that maybe there have been an idea of somehow enhancing the ability to communicate to that or just making cell service better. Was that ever figured out, or is that still down the road?
You know, every stadium has cell frequency, bandwidth issues, as you can imagine. I know we've got additional, they call them COWs, I'm not sure what that acronym stands for, mobile, antennas that they put up, I think, at the law school, maybe over on Med Center Hill, and folks have gotten through with texting. I think those texts they end up, Chief Roberts, in your command center, and then they're responded to. And one of the metrics we'll look at is the number of texts we received in previous years, and does that text number go up, does it go down, that sort of thing. But we've not gotten complaints, I don't think, from folks who've texted with no response. I think we've been very good at making sure that if a text does come in, that CSC or public safety folks are sent there probably within a matter of minutes.
Those 51 locations will not just be beer-only stations, right?
That's correct. They will sell bottled beverages such as water, soda, peanuts, and candy.
That's all, okay.
If there's no more questions for the Sodexo folks, let me switch gears briefly.
I just want.
Yeah, go ahead,
the
sorry.
3 companies that are selling beer in the stadium, do they have to pay any additional fee to the university to have the right to sell their product in the stadium?
No,
Okay.
no. But I emphasize, as I mentioned, that they all have become sponsors of our athletic program. If I could switch gears real quickly, and thank you, by the way, for Paul. One of the new initiatives this year as well is our so-called High Five initiative, and these are really 5 rules, 5 codes of conduct for fans at the stadium. Mike, we'll pass those out for you. One of the things that caused us to really look at all of the operational issues at the stadium in terms of things that we do. One of the issues that caused us to look at all of these issues was the rising level of what we thought was bad behavior in the stands. And as a result, we looked at the pass-out policy, selling beer, a new smoking policy, and I think this all plays together. As part of our effort this year and in years to come, we will be promoting very actively with all the vehicles that we have, website, cards that will be distributed by our security staff. Season ticket holders will receive all this information in the mail, over the course of the next couple of weeks. But we're asking folks to really abide by these 5 rules of conduct. We're calling them High Five. We have student groups that'll be in the tailgate areas passing out this information, encouraging our fans to be hospitable. We'll have a lot of visiting fans this year, whether they're coming from Marshall for the game on September 4th, or from LSU, or from any of our other conference opponents. And we really do want to emphasize that we are doing, I think, a pretty strong job of encouraging our fans to be a little bit more hospitable, to cut down on bad language, to remember that there's mothers and daughters and aunts and uncles and kids sitting throughout our entire stadium, and we certainly want everybody to have a chance to enjoy, a Mountaineer game. Part of this is simply based on making sure that people understand what the rules are, and I think everybody can agree as you read these High Five rules that they're rules that make some sense and will allow everybody to enjoy the game. We want to do all of this, of course, without impinging on the tremendous home field advantage that the Mountaineers have had over the years, and that's helped us win games. It's a very difficult place to play. I think I'm right in saying that we have a home field winning percentage that's in the top 5 or 6 in the country. So we're very proud of that. We want to maintain that. We want folks to be loud and be intimidating, but we also want folks to remember that there are lots of people trying to enjoy the game, and to think twice before they use a 4-letter word or say something that they may later regret. I'd like to ask Chief Roberts to come up. His staff was integral in working with our staff to put these High Five rules together. Chief?
Well, I guess I'm the old man of the podium because I've been here. This is my 26th year, so I've seen about all of it that you can see. The goal is with the High Five actually to make it a better environment for everyone. We want it to be loud and we want it to be spirited, but at the end of it, it's got to be safe. And that's what our goal is to make sure everybody has a safe experience at the games. I know that there's been debate by different groups about the alcohol. The alcohol's been at Mountaineer Stadium for the 26 years I've been here. I think that this is a good way to step forward and start controlling it. You know, after 9/11, there was a lot of discussion about us not having pass outs any longer. That's probably when we should have stopped it, but we didn't. But you know, this is the 10th anniversary coming up, and there's still chatter out there. So you know, as much as anything else, this is a safety issue, because when we screen people coming in at the start of the game, we do an excellent job. But by halftime, we cannot go back to those gates and do that same level of checking. So as much as it is everything else, it is a safety issue and a security issue. So, you know, we want people to be understanding and patient. And I think what Oliver said is true. You know, if that's not something you're willing to say in front of your mother or your grandmother, don't say it. You know, there's young kids out here. There's people who are from all walks of life. So bottom line is we need people to be respectful. I will say that from a public safety and a security standpoint that we will be stepping up the screening at the gates. If you're coming to a gate and you're obviously intoxicated, you probably will not get to see the game. If you're inside the game and you're causing problems or you're deciding not to abide by the high five rules of the game, you may miss the game. We don't want people to be out of the game. We want people to be at the game. And again, we want them to be loud and spirited, but we need them to be respectful and responsible. I'll entertain any questions you might have.